Vegas now, and Broussard, last night's Warriors-Lakers game did in fact live up to the hype and is now an instant classic. And while Steph Curry did his part, LeBron, despite battling the sore ankle, getting poked in the eye, still hit the shot that matters most from the logo, under a minute left to play, and that would be the game winner. That would have the Lakers locking up the 7th seed as well. Chris Broussard, what was your reaction to last night's win by LeBron and the Lakers?
Well, my first reaction was this was definitely why whoever came up with the play-in tournament, or that bleep, as LeBron called it, should not only not be fired, but they should be promoted. This was fantastic. We got to see two of the all-time great players, the most defining players of this generation outside of Kobe Bryant, in an arena that you rarely get to see NBA players in, which was a one-and-done situation. And so it was tremendous. And the best part is it's not quite one and done, right? It's not quite March Madness because Steph and the Warriors still have life. And I don't think anyone living outside of Memphis wants Golden State's season to end this week. So we got the best of both worlds last night. It was a tremendous game, as you said it. Instant classic. I've got several takeaways. We're going to get to Golden State, I think, in the next segment. So I'm going to focus on the Lakers. The Lakers are more vulnerable than I thought. And they're my pick in the West, and I'm sticking with them. But they are more vulnerable than I thought, largely because LeBron clearly is not even close physically to 100%. And you could see last night at the beginning of the game, in the first half, he couldn't expose like an Andrew Wiggins inside. You know, he got inside, but was missing stuff around the rim because he doesn't have the burst and the explosion getting up like he's used to. We'll see if he gets that back as time goes on. But for the time being, he's going to have to get by on his skills and on his smarts, which obviously he's got plenty, and he did it last night. But that was something that stood out for me. Secondly, with the Lakers, and you guys know, I've been saying this, they have something that no one outside of the Clippers can match up with, and that is tremendous size. All right? But last night, the Warriors' biggest player was 6'9". LeBron 6'9". Then you got Andre Drummond at 7 feet and AD basically at 7 feet. And yet, here's the problem. Even when the Lakers are big, they play small. They don't play big. I was yelling at the TV last night in the first half, like, what are you doing? I'm seeing Anthony Davis out there constantly at the three-point line, constantly in the perimeter, even when a Kent Bazemore or some other small players on him. He couldn't expose Draymond Green in the post, who is a great defender, but is half a foot shorter than AD almost. So AD wasn't able to exploit that, and so that was bothersome. They won the rebounding battle 49-46. It should have been much bigger than that. And what the Lakers did smartly was they went to AD at the 5, which was so good for him last year in the playoffs, and that's when AD picked it up, played much better. And so I think going forward, look, we're not going to see as much of Andre Drummond as we think. And AD is going to have to play that 5, and that's when the Lakers are most effective. Also, I like LeBron at the point. I know this year they've had him off the ball more, and he's not the system as he usually is. But when LeBron is bringing the ball up, running the point, he can control the tempo. So with LeBron at the point and AD at the 5, that's when the Lakers were most effective. So I want to see more of that going forward. I think that's their best situation for them.
So I think those are all really good points, but none of them, though, were my two biggest takeaways. My first biggest takeaway is, of course, and Broussard's a very learned, educated man, so I'm going to, go to a famous quote. I think it's, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And in this game, the king was a one-eyed man, and then he blinded Steph Curry with that three right between the eyes, as the great Marv Albert would say, to win the game.
What a reach.
So the guy, no, what do you mean, what a reach? Right between the eyes, I think is what Marv would say. Shout out to the Hall of Famer, Marv Albert. And so listen, the guy with the most playoff buzzer beaters and game winners now has the first play-in game winner. It happens to be from 34 feet. Second longest shot in 20 years in these circumstances. Postseason, only Dame's was longer. But the bigger takeaway is about the 47 minutes before that. Why did the Warriors dominate the first half? Defense. Most notably Draymond Green, who said, I think I'm the greatest defensive player ever. And in that first half, he played like it. He was, the Warriors were playing 6-on-5 because Draymond was worth 2 defenders on every pick and roll. He was annihilating Anthony Davis. Right. He played a perfect defensive first half. And in the second half, why did the Lakers win? Defense. They forced 15 Warriors second half turnovers compared to only allowing 17 Warriors second half baskets. And Brandon, I do think this was the first real taste we got this year of championship-level playoff defense, where you had 2 of the best defensive teams in the league, with some of the best defensive players in the league locked in. So that's my other takeaway, is the Lakers, for all their injuries and inconsistency in different lineups, the one thing that's been true all year, they've had the #1 defense. And when you're down 13 at half, what you have to be able to do is get stops. And in that second half, Brandon, that's exactly what they did.
Well, they better continue to lean into that defense, because what I saw last night wasn't pretty when you talk about the Lakers repeating and winning the championship. Last night was fantastic. So I'm going to go with that word that Chris threw out there earlier. Absolutely fantastic. That first half, man, was awesome. You know, you got Steph Curry on one side, LeBron James on the other, Draymond Green. You guys just talked about it. Draymond Green made AD look like a baby. We're talking about 2 for 12, 0 for 3 from deep, 3 turnovers. I mean, come on, AD, and that was a huge takeaway. If you're talking about repeating, you need this guy to play better. Now, obviously, he picked it up in the second half, but this dude, when you look at him playing against the Clippers, you look at him playing against the Nuggets, and you got the Jazz and the Suns out, like, there's no chance of this team repeating if he continues to play like this. This has been the story, Kevin, all year. Last night was fantastic. LeBron James is the man. We talk about him being the king of the finals, king of the playoffs. Now he's the king of the play-in, Wows. It was absolutely awesome for all of us basketball fans. It was great for the NBA. And like Chris said, wherever this idea came from, they need to be promoted. It was absolutely awesome.
Okay. Yeah, well, his name's Evan Wash. He's the EVP already, so I don't know how high we can actually promote him anymore, but he did do an excellent job, perhaps a spot bonus from Adam Silver. Broussard, I want to talk about the turnovers, because through one lens, as Nick would say, the Lakers forced all these turnovers. Oh, it's the great defense, best defense in the league, and they're forcing a bunch of turnovers. Through another lens, the Warriors got super careless with the ball. Super careless with the ball. Steph was careless with the ball. Draymond, who played amazing in the first half, came out the second half feeling himself a little bit and tried to be like Magic Johnson. Draymond started throwing the ball all over the place. Unfortunately, it will, just like Magic Johnson, a lot of the passes were to the Lakers. So if I'm the Suns and I'm watching this game and be like, you know what? I'm Chris Paul. I'm not going to turn the ball over. And what about you? What are you going to do, Devin Booker? It's like, well, I'm going to score, because we have more than one scorer on their team, not just like Steph. How about you, DeAndre? What are you going to do? Like, I'm going to play just like Draymond. So I think that the Warriors, in their loss, provided the Suns with a blueprint on how they can get out of the first round.
Well, DeAndre playing like Draymond's easier said than done. We all know that. But your point is well taken. And look, the Lakers are a tremendous defense, so I get that. But yeah, Nick overstated it. I mean, all those turnovers were not forced by any stretch of the imagination. You're absolutely right, Wiles, in that Draymond and Steph got sloppy. That's the one thing in Steph's game that you would look at and say, sometimes he just gets too careless with the basketball, and that's what happened last night. And so, but here's the thing, it's not new, and you hit it on the head. I'm sure Phoenix will focus on that because the Warriors are 28th in the league in turnovers. So it wasn't just like, oh, last night they got careless. They're careless with the basketball in general, and the Lakers were able to capitalize on that and exploit it.
Broussard, you obviously, you're more these days NBA analyst than reporter, but you still have your sources and you still break some